What up, S fam? It's your boy Joe Sergeant Lynch back here on another motherfucking video. Hey, I hope y'all are having a happy, great Christmas Eve. I got the house pretty quiet right now. My daughter's taking a nap. My mom-in-law, my wife, my brother-in-law, and my other daughter, they all went to the store or something like that. So, I just miss y'all, S fam, and I just want to hit y'all up, tell y'all a little bit of a story time, okay? All right, so one thing in basic, right? Y'all are not allowed, the basic trainees are not allowed to write letters and notes to other trainees, okay? But I know if within the same unit, y'all should not be writing letters and stuff to each other, little notes, passing them back and forth and all that good kind of stuff, whatever the case may be. I've seen all kinds of stuff. Trainees have notebooks, and in a notebook, one trainee will write something, pass that notebook to another trainee. That trainee writes something. They pass in a notebook back and forth. You know, whether they're in the middle of training at the range, maybe they're on trans. Y'all are gonna have like a Manson or a bus or something like that. On trans 2 training or whatever, they'll write notes back and forth to each other. All right, no matter, it doesn't matter what y'all are talking about. Writing notes is not right in basic training. We just don't allow it. I know my first sergeant and commander were big on saying that you are not here to have a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? You're not here for that. You're at training, basic training, to learn how to be a soldier. So all that writing notes and letters back and forth is going to be a no-go. It is punishable by UCMJ, whether it's a summarized Article 15 or a field grade Article 15, or it may just, you know, whatever the case. I know I like to make my trainees write essays. I'll take their time by making them write essays. I'll give them like a 1,000-word essay to write in like 2 days. Now that's only, you know, while they're not training. In the middle of training or whatever the case may be, whatever, you know, if they're at first aid, you're not about to be writing your essay while you're in first aid. You feel what I'm saying? So normally what they would do is during their personal time, they'll write their little essays or whatever. But I've seen at least 3 different instances of trainees writing notes back and forth to each other. I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff. I've seen them, you know, just writing notes, just mainly whenever you catch a trainee writing a note to another trainee, they're trying to have a relationship. That's all I've ever seen. You know, I think this may happen, I really like you, blah, 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 whatever the case. I've seen 2 trainees writing notes back and forth to each other in a notebook, talking about the sexual things they're going to do to each other. You know what I mean? Very inappropriate, very inappropriate. I've had another set of trainees writing a note back and forth to each other, just saying that they, you know, they feel like after basic training, they want to be in a relationship with each other and they're starting to like each other and they're just going through crazy stuff while they're here at basic training, okay? I've also seen one of the trainees, you know, writing notes back and forth to each other. They actually, it's really punishable by UCMJ. So they'll go through this whole process where they get counseled. They'll get read Article 15. The commander will actually give them extra duty. They actually have, instead of having their personal time, they get their personal time taken away from them. They got to clean up for an hour or so, whatever the case may be. They may have to do that every day for 2 weeks. And even when you go into the field, this stuff still counts as far as your extra duty is concerned. So that kind of stuff is a big no-go, man. It's a big no-go. So I want to tell y'all a story time, right? As much as I can remember. So we had a health and welfare. Your health and welfare, you shouldn't know about it when it comes up in basic training. You're not going to know when it's going to happen. But what's going to happen is the commander is going to authorize, and the commander will go through with all the drill sergeants and any cadre. We're going to do an inspection, basically a search just to make sure that you're upholding the standard as far as any contraband, making sure that your wall locker and all that good stuff is squared away. You know what I mean? So that's the standard that we're doing. We're making sure that you guys aren't bringing anything into the barracks that you shouldn't find. We've found all kinds of crazy stuff. Shampoo bottles, cigarette butts. I had a trainee who picked up a cigarette butt, a long halfway smoked cigarette, said he was going to save it for later, try to smoke it at some point in time. Food, we find food. Never found any kind of drinks, like, you know, a bottled drink or nothing like that. Don't know where they'd get it from, but we have found the MRE, the drinks from inside MRE that's inside the wall locker. That's a no-go. Peanut butter packets. I've found a trainee who had, now this wasn't during the health and welfare, but the trainee had a tuna fish sandwich getting ready to eat it after you got back from the defect. So we're doing our health and welfare. We're going through and we're checking these wall lockers, and we look in the notebook. Well, somebody looked in the notebook. Drill sergeant looked in the notebook. Opened up the notebook, and it said, you have to marry, you have to have sex, and you have to kill one. And they had lists of drill sergeants up there, different people. So the trainees are passing this book around saying what they would do to the different drill sergeants. And I think that was probably the as far as the notebooks and that kind of contraband being found with trainees writing notes back and forth to each other, that was one of the craziest. That was one of the craziest. I think the other craziest one I've ever seen is when the trainees were actually talking about, yeah, I'm going to do this to you, and, you know, my private part is like this and all this. I think that was probably the craziest thing I've seen as far as writing notes back and forth to each other. So when y'all go to basic training, y'all make sure that y'all are not writing these notes back and forth to each other, because it is contraband and you can get in trouble for it. Extra duty, you know, taking your pay, whatever the case may be, just depends. It just depends what the situation is. All right. So anyway, as fam, I just want to hit y'all up with a quick story time. Like I said, I hope y'all having a great Christmas Eve. Y'all have a happy Merry Christmas tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a video tomorrow or not, but anyway, just want to hit y'all up. S fam, stand up, stay focused and motivated. Get motivated up in this joint one time. It's Drill Sergeant Lynch, and I'm out. S fam, deuces.